Now I got it.
So hello everyone, I am Brina Rassa, the Office and Events Coordinator for the Small Business Center, and today we've got David Cohen here. We've used him a few times in the past, so you may remember his face. He's here to chat a little bit about talking about those money beliefs and making you realize that maybe not everything is exactly what you think it is. So he's going to kind of help give us a little bit more light on money and maybe shifting your beliefs and maybe see things a little bit differently and have a different perspective on your money. And I will pass it over to David Cohen.
Thanks. And welcome, Samantha's just joining us. So welcome, Sarah and Jared and Patty. And yeah, good morning. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm just going to get my screen share ready. And the PowerPoint is coming there. Can everybody see it? Yeah. Well, I just gotta do one quick thing here. And that's get the slideshow going. And from the beginning. All right, excellent. All right, good morning. We do have, this is a pretty active session, interactive. Oh, good, Amber's here too. And so maybe we'll be able to do our breakout rooms. That'll be cool. So it's on your money beliefs, but there's also some marketing and also our own beliefs too. That we're going to talk about this morning. And our blocks, our money blocks hinder our entrepreneurial path and our success. And we're going to look at what we can do to overcome our blocks and so we can have more success in 2022. And it's going to be a pretty interactive session. I've got videos, I've got really good discussion happening today. So welcome everybody, Sarah and Amber and Jared, and oh, Luke is here with us. Welcome, Luke, nice to see you. Samantha, maybe before we begin, you just want to do a quick introduction. So Patty, do you just want to just share who you are, where you're from, what you do, that kind of thing?
Hi, I'm Patty Gelasso. I'm from Millbrook, Ontario, and I am a Reiki master teacher, but I specialize in animal Reiki. So I work with animals, try to help them heal and feel better and, send them lots of love.
Excellent. Okay, Sarah, how about you? Just a quick, who are you? How are you? Where you're from, what you're up to?
Sorry, just getting my camera going here. My name is Sarah, and I am currently in the business of opening Quinty Plumbing in Frankfurt, Ontario. And so I'm just here to kind of learn.
Okay, welcome to you. And Amber, are you okay to say a quick hello?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Amber Darling. I'm the executive director at Trenval, and we help small businesses as well as the Small Business Center. We coordinate with them, and we also provide financial services and community economic development. We're the local community futures. Now, just so you know, I will just be kind of listening in as I've got a couple other meetings, so I will not be joining the breakout rooms, but I'll listen in. Okay, thank you.
That's good. And we met a couple years ago.
Yes, we have.
At that event at the arena. Yeah, really nice to see you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Luke, do you want to say a quick hello? And Luke's an essential part of the Small Business Center in Belleville. So
yeah, thanks, David. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this morning. Certainly looking forward to it. I'll also be in and out, David, so looking forward to participating in the breakout rooms when possible or interacting as possible. But welcome. With the Small Business Center, I'm the business counselor, so if anybody wants to meet further after today or meet with David, that's great too. Have fun today. Thanks.
Thanks, Luke. Welcome. Samantha, just a quick hello and what you're up to.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Samantha, and I'm from Toronto. And I recently launched my first business 2 weeks ago. It's in its trial run. It's a business called Peckish, where I cater nutritious meals to people who want to eat nutritiously. And that's my story for now. Thank you, David.
Excellent. Welcome, welcome. I like the name. And Jared, are you okay to unmute?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jared from Whitley Insurance, and I deal with a lot of small commercial clients. So I thought that this might be an interesting one to give some different talking points with my customers and understand some of the challenges which they deal with.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Jared. I hope you get a lot out of this today, and that it helps you in terms of your positioning and marketing in the marketplace too. So welcome. And Brianna, do you want to just say a quick, I know you said a quick hello, but does everybody know you? Yeah, I think.
Sure. I don't mind speaking at all. So if you guys don't know, we offer workshops at least once a week. We've got 2 events coming up. We've got our Bridges event, which will be covering accounting, branding, as well as mental health in and out of the workplace. And I'm missing one now, of course, too. Accounting, branding, mental health.
Okay.
I think I got them all. So essentially we'll be offering different types of workshops on a regular basis. If you have an idea or you think of something that you really want, feel free to send me an email. I'm always willing to take suggestions if there's something that you're looking for, or even just any questions at all. Us at the Small Business Center, Luke and I are here to help you. Thank you.
Thanks. And they do really good work. I, remember attending that live event, and I've done, webinars since. And the one thing about the Small Business Center in Belleville is they really do care about the community and the business community, and it really shows in their work and in their programming too. So let's get into it. We have money blocks, believe it or not. And the 3 key ones that kind of hurt us as entrepreneurs. One is underpricing and not charging what you're worth. So that's one that, it's like, well, what do I charge? What, maybe I'll give them a discount. It's like, if they're not asking for a discount, don't do it. So number 1 money block, underpricing, not charging what you're worth. Number 2 money block, guilt or shame, right? Around, oh, maybe I'm charging too much, or, when you get like a big deal and it's like, oh my God, like there's this sort of voice inside that says, maybe tries to block that joy from, happening. And the 3rd money block is self-sacrifice. So we're going to sort of go through these, but then in and around, this is sort of the frame story. In and around, we're going to talk about some other very critical pieces to this, and as it relates to you and your beliefs and your stories. So money block number 1, not charging enough. It's the number, it's one of the maybe the, like a key area that impedes our progress and our well-being as entrepreneurs. So the number 1 cause of this, of overwhelm and burnout with product and service-based entrepreneurs, is this. It's undercharging and over delivering. So we're doing so much work, but we're not making enough money. And then you'll see, like, you'll feel it in your soul and your body that, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this work and I'm not getting enough money for it, right? I remember a long time ago, I was in a very different industry, and I had a client, was an ad agency, and I was in the promotional marketing, products, and incentive business at that time. And I remember this ad agency would call me all the time for quotes, right? And then when it came time to order, it didn't work out, right? And I remember I had a stack like this, like, a good inch thick of quotes, and then my order, and I looked at my order file with them, and it was like almost nothing, like maybe 2 orders over that time. And I went, I'm doing all this work, researching, coming up with ideas, putting together proposals, and I have almost nothing to show for it. So I had to make a decision that, it was tough because I don't like, letting customers go, but I had to sort of let this customer go and say, I don't think we're a fit, right? So you got to watch this, because the money block number one, not charging enough, undercharging and over delivering. So working your tail off, but not making enough from it. Your time, your effort, your life is worth something. And you have to bear that in mind as an entrepreneur. So these money blocks all come from our limiting beliefs about money and our stories. I remember interviewing Michael Gerber. So my background is in marketing, advertising, promotions. I also did a radio show for a number of years. And then I have my own training coaching company working with startups and business owners. And I remember when I had the radio show, it was in Durham region on CKDO. Then it was 1350, now it's 1580. Anyway, so I interviewed Michael Gerber, the author of The E-Myth Revisited. And in our interview, he once told me, because I asked him about money, right? And he said, we never have enough money. Even if you have money, it's still never enough. And I thought about that after the interview. And I went, he's right. None of us have enough money. And even if we do have a lot of money, it's still not enough, right? So that bit of advice sort of like freed me up in a weird way. It was like, I stopped complaining about my money situation. So I'm going to ask you, when you hear about that story and what Michael Gerber said about money, how does that bit of advice maybe help you change your money beliefs a little bit? When you realize that, hey, no one has enough money, even people with money don't have enough. How does that maybe shift your money beliefs? Anybody want to chime in?
I'll say believe that you're good enough. And a quick story, David. I get what you're saying with not charging enough, because a couple of weeks ago, I did a catering to an event, and I charged $250 for 20 people. And at the end of it, I was tired and I didn't have anything to show for the job I did. So I over-delivered and I was underpaid.
Yeah. So you have to, kind of come at that differently in future and put systems in place in your business where you're asking questions of the client. What's their expectation? What's their budget? What, how far can they go? And then you have to decide, is this a good deal to take or is it not? It's like that client, where I said like my quote file was like an inch thick. My order file was like, well, nothing almost. Yeah. And this idea of no one has enough money, then if everybody feels that way, then you're in good company. So let go of the complaint. Let go of the complaint of and the languaging and the story that I don't have enough money. So it's like, okay, maybe shift it and say I do have enough money. It's really about shifting your perspective, shifting your story, shifting your beliefs. And that's what we're going to kind of hopefully do a little bit today. So how do we transform or shift not being able to charge enough or not having enough money to having money, right? So one is to recognize it, recognize your languaging, almost like maybe wear an elastic band around your wrist every time you say, oh, I can't afford it, or I don't have enough money. And maybe replace it with a more life-affirming thought, like, oh, I have enough money. Money comes to me easily and effortlessly, right? So recognize it, own it. Where does this come from that you have to please somebody but not make money, right? That you have to work your, really hard to get it, right? These are just stories and beliefs. Where does that come from? When did you develop that story? Maybe it was like when you were a kid. I grew up with two parents who are not with us anymore. And they met during the Second World War. My dad was in the Air Force with the Canadian Air Force, and he met my mom, who was what was called a war bride, right? And they had definitely, hard times back then, and especially stories around money and, and they brought those stories with them, and I grew up with them. The one I remember most is, you got to cut your suit by the cloth you're given, which means you got to stay within your budget, right? Which is a great idea. You don't want to go over, but it was always like, yeah, there was some definite money stories. So understand, where does your money story come from? When did you develop that? What is your money block that might be costing you personally, financially, and professionally? The other one was, what? I never have enough money. That's a story, right? That we're creating, and we create with our words. Decide now, then, who you want to work with in terms of clients. Do you want to work with low-end clients that don't have a lot of budget or money? Then you got to be prepared for that, right? You got to be prepared that you might not be making as much on a deal or a sale as you would with somebody, a mid-range client or a high-end client, right? A high-end client, they're buying the Mercedes and the big houses and fancier things, right? Where a low-end client, they're really mindful of where they're investing, and they've got to really look at price as a critical thing. I remember going into a sales meeting and dialoguing with my clients, and I'd ask, like, what are your key buying criteria? And if they said it was money, then I knew I had to sort of address that in how I served them. So I had to get them out of that, concern about money. I had to really amp up on, here's the value, here's what we're going to do for you, and here's what you're going to get, right? So it's really, really important. So when you have a belief, recognize it, own it. Where does this come from? Shift the languaging, shift your thought process, right? Decide who you want to work with, and here's the thing, there's nothing to it but to do it. So you got to practice shifting your thought process, your belief, and your story around money, because everybody, as Michael Gerber alluded to, has an issue, right? Everybody, whether you have it or you have more or you have less, everybody has the same issue. And the other critical piece here is you want to now design your business around your ideal customer. You want to design your business around your ideal customer. If it's low end, then you have to design it there. If it's a mid-range customer, you've got to design your business to fit, the mid-range client. And if it's high end, then you really want to, create a business that reflects high end, right? Hyundai doesn't really reflect high end. It's more low to mid, right? Whereas Mercedes, you see their ads, you see their their cars, you see the production value in the ads, the it's really about luxury, right? That's they're really aware of that. They're high end, and boy, they better look like a high end, right? They have to look like a high end place. So I'm just going to go off on a little bit of on a tangent. We're going to come back to the money blocks. And it's really critical that you get clear as to who your ideal client is. And your ideal client will have the money because your ideal client is someone like you. So something really critical to remember, people buy for two reasons. And this is actually a quote from Tony Robbins. One is to get pleasure, and the other is to get out of pain. So you have to understand that psychology, that behind your clients' buying decisions is, one, are they buying for pleasure? Oh, it's hot out. There's an ice cream truck. I'm going to go get an ice cream, right? That's pure pleasure. But more people buy things to get out of pain, right? So here's my question for you. Can you recall a time when you made a purchase to get out of pain? If so, what happened? Did it work? Did you pay a higher price? Did you question the price? Or did you know that the price of staying in your current reality was greater than the price of buying the product or service, it was going to help you shift out of pain. Any comments on that? You okay to share? Don't be shy. Can you call a time where you made a purchase to get out of pain?
I did.
Okay, what happened?
I'd be at work and I'd be in excruciating pain, and I went to the eye doctor, and I own horses, so all of my money goes towards my horses. Anything at all, I will put myself absolutely last. I choose horses first. So this was pain for myself. I only have so many dollars for benefits. So it did not, so I was in probably a lot of pain, consistent headaches, couldn't look at my screen, hard to focus, hard to do my job. And so I ended up going to the doctors after I was told I should probably go get my eyes checked. So I did. And I only had so many dollars that I was able to spend for my benefits. So I did something that needed to be done, but I think I only out of my budget was maybe $25. So that was my only time I really noticed myself. But I don't spend any money on myself if I can. So that's just me. It's just glasses. And I'm very thankful now after almost 2 years.
And now, but how did you feel making that buying decision to get out of, the pain you're? Okay, wow.
I did not want to spend any money on myself. I didn't have any extra money that I was willing to put into myself. And unfortunately, it's a tough realization for myself, as I still need to take care of myself. Because if I don't take care of myself, then who else is going to do that for me?
Exactly. Good. So that was an eye opener. You realized a belief pattern that, hey, you know what, I've got to take care of myself, or I can't take care of my horses or my work or my family, right?
Exactly.
Excellent. Excellent. Does anybody remember this when charging and ensuring that your tribe or your ideal client are people like you were at one point? So remember this, like your ideal client are people like you at one point. They count on you to help them get out of pain and into pleasure. So,
well, sorry, it's funny because you're talking about pleasure and pain, and I'm realizing that, part of being a plumbing company is we're going to have both sides of clients, where we're going to have people doing renovations and improving their home and enjoying pleasure out of that. And we are going to have people who are in pain because they have a clogged drain or a backup or something else. And it's just neat thinking of that element of the company and how we're going to have people who are on both sides of that coin.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to really realize it. And Sam wrote in the chat that people buy to get out of pain, but then get pleasure at the end, right? So you just need to, think of that when you're talking to clients, when you're marketing to clients. Are you about pleasure, or are you about helping somebody get out of pain? And the more pain the client is in, the more money you make. Okay. So you really want to remember this when charging, your clients and creating your ideal client profile. Is your ideal client are probably people just like you were at one point, when you were in pain, maybe when you had a challenge and you got yourself out of it. That's probably where your ideal client is going to be kind of hiding, right? That's where your key tribe is. So some ways to get to your ideal client is, first of all, know, are you a pain? You're going to focus on the pain, and hey, we have a proven methodology to get you out of pain, or you're going to be about pleasure. And then the next thing is, know your value, know your worth, know the results you get for your clients from your product or service. Again, if you're really helping somebody get a result, I don't know what just dropped behind me, but something just dropped. If you're really, what did just, oh, that just dropped. Okay. So if you're really clear as to, what your value is, and you're clear in communicating it, your clients are going to find the money to pay you what you're worth. Okay. When you can show enough value, when you can show results, hey, we're going to help you get out of pain and into pleasure, or we're all about pleasure, your clients are going to find the money to pay you what you're worth. So that's really critical. All right. Then you want to kind of think of like, what are my goals in and around my ideal client as it relates to money, our conversation around money. So once you have to look at your business through your customer's eyes, right? And identify like who's currently buying from you. What are the maybe commonalities? Why are they buying from you? Why do they like you? I would even go and talk to some clients and ask them, why do you buy from us? What is it that keeps you, keeps you coming to us? Do that inventory, do that check-in. This is a perfect time of year when we're just starting out in the new year to dialogue with your customers, right? And the other thing too, are you happy with your current type of customer, right? As Sam, you alluded to, that you did this deal, you worked really hard, and at the end of the day, you didn't make enough money. Is that your ideal kind of customer, right? Are you happy with them? Are they happy with you? Or do you feel maybe that you need to target a new group of people who would really value who you are and what your business does the most? Are you feeling the relationships maybe with customers aren't mutually beneficial? They have to be mutually beneficial, right? You want to deal with somebody that's haggling you and arguing with you about price, or do you want to work with somebody who values your contribution and trusts that you're going to do a good job? This is really a critical thing to start to think about as we think about our money beliefs and our money conversations. Another really important thing is to, look at past interactions with customers, because they can reveal a lot, and maybe some are not so good. And maybe it's time to let them go, that they don't even pay attention to you, right? And that's a trigger for a lot of entrepreneurs. I know personally, when I don't get, I'm not getting any attention here, right? Or I'm not getting any love here. What happens is, I know personally, eventually I'll just let them go, right? It's like, why am I investing in a customer or a prospect that's not showing me anything back, that's not returning? So you want to look at your interactions with customers and think, is this a good, healthy relationship? And if not, maybe what can I do to change that? And or is it a bad relationship? And maybe it's time to just let that customer kind of go, right? So you want to look at any mistakes and successes. You want to look at maybe narrowing your focus as far as your customers go. You want to really get clear, do your clients value you? And if not, do you need to let go, right? Step 4 in getting to your ideal customer is research. And I'm a real big believer of research. So, before you leap, before you try a new product or create a new service, check in with your customer base, or at what you think are your ideal customers, just to see if they'll support you, right? That's called validation. And that's a big word these days in business, validating your idea, right? And then once you get validation, once you know that, hey, there's a customer base that's going to support me, they have the budget, so you want to find that out, right? And they're going to support this idea, then you can launch, right? And that's when you start to scale. So then you launch, and then you start to approach these prospects or customers who like your idea, like your service, and they're going to support you, right? So it's really important to build a customer profile, right? Really know your customer, know what their preferences are, their likes, their interests, right? Answer questions like, where are they? What do they do? Who are they, right? Who's working with them as well? Maybe you can joint venture with another non-competing business and tap into their client base, who are ideally your clients, right? So you want to know more about your clients than Google knows about them, right? If you can. And that takes time. That's a process that's going to take time. You also want to know things like demographics, budgets, what influences their buying decisions. Find out as much as you can about each customer. And remember, the more you know, the more powerful you'll be. And the one key thing, do they have the budget? What's their budget? I remember I went to some training, business training, when I was in that other field, the promotional marketing and incentive field. And there was a great speaker. His name is Jeff Tobe, D-O-B-E, originally from Ontario and now in Pittsburgh. And one of the first things, and he does training like high end, right? And one of the first things he'll ask the client is, what's your budget? And we're all going, oh yeah, but you can't ask that. And it's like, well, why not? You know, it's like, let's get to it. You know, no budget, you know, no service, right? Or you'll have to figure things out where, you know, you're getting something in exchange for your value for what you're doing. So you want to really design your business around what your customer needs. So that's why research, understanding what our customers about, what they need, what they want. So once you have an ideal picture of who your ideal customer is, and make sure everybody on your team is clear. That includes like your web designer, so they're going to create web content and imaging that is speaking to your ideal customer. Really get clear as to who your ideal customer is, and remember, like too, like in terms of how it relates to your value and making money, you've worked so hard at your business, right? Your customer doesn't always see that hard work or the sweat equity or the fear or the worry or man, it's slow right now or whatever, right? They don't see that. So when you get a deal and you get a bit of business, you better make sure that it's paying you enough that you feel good and that you really want to give your client the best, right? So we put a lot of time and effort into, you know, to building and shaping our business. And we're doing that free, right? To be more service oriented with our clients. So when it's time for you to make money, go make it, right? Ask for what you're worth. Ask for what you're worth and work with, and make sure you're working with a client that's going to honor you as much as you're going to work hard for them. So you want to serve your ideal client. So when there's an ideal fit, you're clear in knowing and communicating your value. So your value is, what's that end result? What are customers going to get from working with you? How are you taking them out of pain and into pleasure? How are you fixing a problem? How are you helping them get results, right? So that's really where your value is based. And then you need to establish their needs and their budgets to make sure that they can afford what it is you do and that you're going to make a good income for what you're doing. And you also want to ensure that, hey, there's win-win, mutually beneficial relationship happening here, right? And then that's when you can earn more money easily and without a lot of effort and stress. And that's the way it should be. So don't forget to ask for money or ask for the sale. Sometimes we're fearful of that. Oh, gotta ask for the business. Yeah, you gotta ask for the business. See it in your mind's eye, you know, getting that practice. I think I've talked about that last time I was teaching. See it, do some visualization. I know professional salespeople will see the deal or the business meeting going really super well. Assume, hey, yeah, you know, I'm worth it. I'm gonna work hard for my client. I'm gonna give them lots of value. Trust that it will happen and make it happen. You'll see some really great results. Any questions, comments? No? So really important to really get clear as to, you know, creating your ideal customer profile and then going after it this year, right? And maybe do a bit of an inventory and see what clients perhaps are stealing your time and your energy and not paying enough, like my ad agency with the file. I swear to God, every time they wanted a big quote, I'm going, oh, cool, I'm going to get this big order. And I was like, no, the client went elsewhere. Oh, man. Because I was dealing with a third party, not direct, right? I was dealing with that agency. So, yeah, anyway, the good old days. All right. Any questions, comments before we move back to our money blocks? All right, so remember our money blocks. Number one, underpricing, not charging what you're worth. Own it, feel it. Where does this come from, right? How can I shift it? Remember, like positive reinforcement. Hey, I'm worth this. You know, look at your happy customers and why they appreciate you and like you. Talk to them, and ask them that. Why is it that, you know, what makes you want to work with us, right? And just approach it like, I'm just doing some research so we get a better understanding of how we can be even better. Would you mind answering this? That's how I would approach that. So that's money block number one. And when you're working really hard, not making enough, as Sam said in the chat, or said in the group, it doesn't make you feel good, right? It kind of makes you feel like, I got to charge more, right? And you do, but you have to ask and find out what's your budget. Okay. Now, money block number two, guilt or shame. Yeah, that's a big one for a lot of entrepreneurs, and we're going to address that as well. So that's money block number two, guilt or shame. So talking about money blocks, what's one money block or belief that you have that holds you back? What's one big belief that you have that holds you back? Anybody? Yeah.
I think for me, it's that feeling that, you know, am I really worth this much money? Like, am I? And on one part of me knows I am, but there's that little voice in your head that says, you know, maybe you're charging too much, or you're not doing enough, or, you know, and then it kind of, makes you want to, you know, charge less, but I don't anymore. But I mean, it's those kinds of things that kind of get in the way, I think, is that feeling that you're not worthy.
Right.
You know, you're not good enough. There's somebody better than us, you know, than I am, or at what I do. And
yeah, I got it. I think that's common for a lot of us, Patty. So, and there probably is somebody, you know, out there that's maybe better or does things differently, and so be it. But your client is open to working with you. So, you know, own your value, own your worth, right? So do you want to have a breakthrough on that? A way to solve it? I'm going to just go to the chat first. Samantha says, for me, it's the thought of losing customers. Yeah. So I think if you stay in touch, Samantha, with your customers and your dialogue, like, let's say you get a deal, and then follow up and say, I would even go to the point of following up and having them do a survey. Hey, what did you think? How can we be better? Right? Were you happy? What would get you to, you know, come back? Right? So do maybe a survey with your customer at the end of the deal and say, you know, by the way, would you like us to stay in touch and keep you abreast of what we're offering? Maybe a new recipe. Would you like to be on our newsletter list? Stay in touch with your customer so that they start to forget about you. Because if they start to forget about you, then your competitors have a bad habit of coming in and trying to get their business too. Okay, I hope that helps. But be professional and do a survey at the end of a sale and say, okay, and then listen to your customer. If they have a problem, then listen and act on it. When you act on their suggestion and you show that, they're going to love you. They're going to say, wow, they really listen. they really care, that makes me as a customer feel validated, feel that they really do care. And I want to work with somebody like this. I hope that helps, Sam, and for anybody else on the call today. So if you want to have a breakthrough, what Patty just said is true for everybody, right? Wow. And so I want to introduce you to a woman named Byron Katie. She's a brilliant thinker and author and writer, and actually had her, believe it or not, I had her as a guest on my radio show. It was called the Small Business Big Idea Show on CKDO for 7 years, and I had her as a guest. And she wrote a book called Loving What Is, and 4 questions that can change your life. And this could change not only your business, but your relationships, anything, right? And the 4 questions are, so Patty, when you have that belief that, you know, about customers, not, you know, that you're questioning whether or not you're worth it, you know, is that true? So you just ask yourself, is that true? Can I absolutely know that that's true? Like, have you asked the client, do they have an issue with your pricing or your work or the outcomes of your work? And then how do you react, or what happens when you believe that thought, Patty? So just do this mentally. And then who would you be without that thought? So is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought, and who would you be without that thought? Do you want to, does that shift anything, Patty, for you?
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, it does. Because when I look at each question, like number 1, it isn't true. And I really do know it's not true, because I do have, you know, feedback from clients about the results of what I'm offering. But how do I react? What happens when you believe that thought? Well, if I believe that thought, if I truly believe that thought, I'd probably quit.
Yeah.
Like I'd just give up.
Yeah.
And I would, if without that thought, I'd be very, very, the most successful animal Reiki practitioner out there, because,
Hey,
you know, that's, yeah,
I love it.
that would be me.
Then that is you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. It's all about, it's out reframe. It's like change the story. You know, your old paradigm is this, but that's not real. This is real. And
yeah. And when you do Reiki with animals, like, are you the best there is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Own it.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam, when you cater an event, are you putting your heart and soul into making that event really beautiful for your clients? I would say yes.
Of course. And I always get feedback at the end that it's the best they ever had. So it's just me mentally need to do what I need to do to have a successful business.
Yeah.
And not, like, you know, be scared or afraid of losing customers.
If you're doing like one.
Yeah, there, Sarah, we wrote that in. It's Byron Katie. And when I first heard of her, I went, Byron, that's a weird name for a woman. But anyway, she's amazing. She's got lots of videos. She's does work all over the world. And these are the 4 questions that you want to ask if you're confronted with something, right? It could be a relationship, you know. Oh, you know, this person doesn't like me. Well, is that true? Do you absolutely know it's true? How to react when you believe that thought, and who would you be without it? Oh, they like me, everything's fine, I can move on, right? So what this does is it frees you up, and it helps you move through your beliefs, and then you get to what's true. So Patty just discovered she's really good at Reiki. She's like one of the best animal Reiki practitioners there is. But when you start to have a belief that's gnawing at you, chipping away at your abilities, right? Now, are we going to be for everybody? No. Is every client going to want to work with us? No, and that's fine. Are there better people than us? Maybe, right? Are there cheaper people than us? Yeah, probably. But you know what? If you really take care of your clients, they're going to take care of you, right? from a financial point of view. And that's where money starts to happen. So you got to watch your beliefs, watch your blocks, and yeah, and get over them. So I'm going to just show you a little video. It's not very long. It's about 3.5 minutes, and it's Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of him, but he's out there in the sort of the personal growth business, and he wrote a book called Becoming Supernatural. He's got a lot of videos, meditations, visualizations. Very powerful man who actually healed himself from a catastrophic car accident. And he does workshops all over the world. There's a wonderful interview with him, and there's a couple, I think, with him and Lewis Howes, Lewishowes. And Lewis Howes hosts a podcast, and he puts it on YouTube. It's called The School for Greatness. And he's done a few interviews about Joe Dispenza and his work. And Joe Dispenza is all about reframing your thoughts, right? Recreating your beliefs so that life flows better for you. So here's a 3.5 minute video, and talks about your money blocks. And
now it begins to come to you. You become the vortex or the magnet to your destiny. So then people who come out of their meditation and they say, well, I just focused on my wealth. Why isn't it there? Well, you're not that good. If you're asking why isn't it there, you're back to the old person again. Stay in that state for an extended period of time as an experiment, as the scientist in your life, to keep your energy connected to the dream of your future. And then see what kind of effects begin to take place without moving into impatience, without moving into frustration, without starting to analyze why it hasn't happened or when. That is the trap of defining reality with your senses. So you have the thought of your future and you don't see it and you experience separation. But people who are practicing this work, they have the thought of their future and they feel the emotion of their future. They're still connected to it, right? So that takes practice. And it's just learning, like hitting a golf ball, hitting a tennis ball, dancing the salsa, crocheting, whatever it is. You gotta start out staying real conscious and learning. Then you get good at it, and it gets to be instrumental, it gets to be fun. And that's what I want for everybody. That the act of creation should be a blissful, ecstatic, loose, free process. And so I love the idea of people taking time out of their lives to prove to themselves that if they're defined by the vision of the future, then they're not living by the memories of the past. And that's where the unknown exists. So many people, the unknown is a scary place. So they don't see that future because they're used to seeing that future with evidence, with their senses. And you have to be able to get beyond that and stay in the unknown, stay in that discomfort. And then in that moment, to begin to self-regulate, like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little anxiety. Ooh, I'm starting to feel a little frustration. That's the defining moment where your body's going back to the past, because emotions are a record of the past. Or you go into routine again. So you catch yourself to victory. And if you keep catching yourself, those victories add up. And it's not so much about your wealth or your health or your freedom or your new relationship. It's actually about who you become. And so overcoming the old self allows us to become somebody else. And there is that period of transition. Yeah, I call it the void, where there's just not a lot happening. And you just got to be able to keep going and continuously get to the end of your belief, where most people stop. I just had a fabulous conversation with someone this weekend. Broke through to the other side, and now there's so much magic happening around this person, but she's worthy now to receive it. And that is the key, because the universe only gives us what we think we're worthy of receiving. So we got to become initiated into this and understand that thousands of years of programming that says that we have to change things matter to matter, in three-dimensional reality. And It will take time, but to begin to connect to that resource called the quantum field and create from the fields that are from matter, there's a lot of unlearning that has to go on.
What do you think? What do you think of that message? Any comments?
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And it's funny because I've been doing this program and it's about visualizing that you're living a certain way, whether you are at the moment or not, but just you're constantly thinking about and picturing that I'm living this life, doing whatever you want, your dream life, and keep that in your mind and it will come.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really, you want to let go of it though, you don't want to be attached to it. And
No, but like not worry about when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, but just keeping that vision.
yeah. And collapse your old beliefs, your beliefs
Yes.
about money or, or clients or people or whatever it is, just let it go. It's the past. We're now here right now in the present, and then visualize what it is you want to bring in and just let it go. Right? Yeah. Thanks, Patty. Thanks. Let's take a little 5-minute stretch break. I've got a couple minutes here before 11, and we'll come back for 11:03. Is that okay with everybody? A little stretch? I hope so. Yeah? Okay, and I'll be back too. our money blocks. Whoops. I'll just wait. Sorry, I'll wait another 30 seconds here. It's now, okay, it's now 11:03. So instead of break our room, we'll do this collectively. We've been talking about our money blocks and stories, and now it's time to dig deep and identify these disempowering stories, right? So this is a couple, and we'll have an open discussion. What gift are you getting from your money block? Because sometimes our stories and our blocks and our beliefs actually offer us something. What's the gift from a money block that you have? Or your story about money? Any comments? This might sound scary, but it might be preventing you or keeping you small. And not stepping into your owning your greatness. Right? If you think about it. Wow, yeah, if I don't make enough money, then I don't have that responsibility, right, around it. So you have to ask, does this serve you anymore to think like that? Probably not. The other topic here for discussion is, what do you want in terms of your business this year? And are you willing to shift that limiting belief to get it? What do you want? I just spoke to my business coach yesterday. We had a session. And she's raised over $1.75 million for a project she's working on. And I'm going, holy cow, like, that's amazing, right? Why? Because her beliefs are different. She sees things differently. She believes in an unlimited supply. There's an unlimited supply. The only limits are in here. So my question to you is, what belief would you have to let go of to create a more empowering mindset? You can just write that down and think about that after today. What belief would you have to let go of to create a more empowering mindset?
David, can I just comment on that? Something else when you say that comes up for me, and I've often thought that I think that other people are more like me in that they don't see a value, or they aren't willing to spend money on something unless it can see the benefit right away.
Yeah.
I'm making an assumption based on my beliefs rather than what's real.
Right.
Which holds me back from approaching them.
Yeah. So you've got to know yourself, and you've got to know what your value is, right? And then you've got to know it and then communicate it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's about the communication too. And
yeah. It's all about communicating the benefits. I'm always reminded, John Asraf from the documentary The Secret, Patty, and he owned a company, maybe he still does, it's called One Coach, and they work with entrepreneurs, obviously, based out of the US. And one of his clients was a chiropractic clinic, and the chiropractic clinic called him and said, we want to meet with you because we need help marketing this thing we've got that's pretty cool. And they went in, they met, and the client said, we have a proprietary methodology to help those who have fibromyalgia reduce the pain they're in. And so John Asraf and his team met, And then they started, instead of coming up with a campaign, a marketing campaign or anything like that, they actually, Patty, they did research. They went and talked to, it was predominantly women with this fibromyalgia, and they asked them questions. And they asked, one of the questions, what's your greatest fear about this, or worry or concern? And they said, well, there's no proven methodology to help us get out of pain. And then they said, well, what happens when you're like, when you have a fibromyalgia flare up? And they said, oh man, the pain's so bad, we can't even get out of bed. We're just home all day watching TV, and we can't be moms, we can't go to work, right? It's the uncertainty of how to handle this that really concerns us, right? So based on that research, one coach went back to the chiropractic clinic and said, we recommend you buy ads on TV. And the chiropractic owner said, no, we tried TV in the past, it doesn't work. And they said, trust us, it's going to work. Because here's what our research said. They're home in bed in pain, and they can't do much. They can barely get out of bed. They're home all day watching TV, right? Or whatever, or sleeping. And so they developed, and then they asked about, what's the average age, what's the concern, what's it, right? So the ad was, the chiropractic clinic agreed, and they did an ad on TV, and it went like this: are you a woman age 35 to 55? Do you suffer from fibromyalgia? Is the pain so bad that you can't lead a normal life, let alone get out of bed and take care of your work or your family or your business? At XYZ Chiropractic Clinic, we have a proven methodology that will help you reduce the pain you're in right now. For your free, no questions asked, money, no obligations consultation, call us at 555-1212, right? Well, that ad, what do you think happened to the phones, Patty? Like,
They probably had so many people calling, they couldn't even handle it.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it spoke about to the client, it addressed their concern, and it showed, here's the value. Oh, and by the way, there's no obligation. You don't have to work with us if you don't want to. No risk. But they got the value. The value is, we're going to help you greatly, reduce your pain. Right? Remember we said about pain and pleasure, right? So make sure that you're communicating the value. What is the customer going to get from working with you?
Yeah, it's almost like, instead of thinking, what have you got to lose? It's just, what have you got to win? Like, what are the end result can be so amazing.
Yeah.
And you don't, there's no risk to it.
Yeah. Yeah, like your frozen pipes for the, our plumbing expert, right? Like, who wants that? Water all over the place in the middle of winter, and that's what Sarah does. Or the small business center in Belleville, you're starting out, you can't afford a coach or the advice. We have programs and one-on-one consultation at no charge is going to help you grow your business. That's the value. Got it? So the other thing is, this is for the breakout rooms. In order to charge more, you got to let go of your money story. So who would you have to be? Like Joe Dispenza said, like, who do we have to be? Think about it. Patty, you already alluded to it. I'm one of the best Reiki animal Reiki practitioners. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who we really are. But it's the stuff in our head, the stories, the beliefs that kind of eat away at us a little bit, right? Not that this is about ego or anything. It's not. It's just like, when you work with me, you're going to get my very best, right? It's the same with you, Samantha, or anybody on the call. When clients work with you, you're going to give them your very best. You're good at what you do, right? So you got to start saying yes to yourself. Really important. And you also have to start saying no to things. Any questions, comments? Okay, the next block is guilt and shame. A new kid on the block. Many entrepreneurs deal with this common money block, guilt and shame about making a lot of money. And what's considered a lot is personal to every entrepreneur, right? And it's tied to whatever we've experienced, seen, been taught, or adopted through our lives. So money guilt and shame manifests in a variety of ways, including not keeping it or chasing money away. And I remember being on a workshop about money a few years ago, and the host, Martina, asked us how we felt in our bodies about money, right? So she'd ask, like, and I want you to do this, think about it. How do you feel about earning $50,000 a year? How does it feel in your body? What about $75,000 a year? Does that feel like comfortable still? Yeah, I could do that. What about $100,000 a year? How does that make you feel? What about $250,000 a year? I'm feeling a little like, I don't know. Never had that reality, right? What about $500,000? How do you feel when you hear $500,000? You're earning $500,000 a year. What about $1 million a year? What feelings, emotions come up? So we have a limit in our head about what we're worth and what seems reasonable. And that's okay. It's okay. But start to get comfortable with unlimited. Why limit yourself? Brene Brown, the author of The Gifts of Imperfection, talks a lot. She's a guilt and shame expert, also Dare to Win, really good book. And she says, and I got a quote, okay? I believe that there is a profound difference between shame and guilt. The guilt is adaptive and helpful. It's holding on to something we've done or failed to do up against our values and feeling psychological discomfort. Then shame is about feeling or experience or believing that we're flawed and therefore unworthy of love or money or success and belonging. Something we've experienced, done, or failed to do makes us unworthy, right? So she says, I don't believe shame is helpful or productive. In fact, I think shame is much more likely to be the source of destructive, hurtful behavior than the solution or cure. And she says, I think fear of disconnection can make us dangerous. Something to think about. So I'm just going to show another video and we'll sort of brainstorm on it here. This is also about 3 minutes. And it's Brene Brown talking to Oprah Winfrey on Soul Sunday. Or the life class.
I love this question. You mentioned gremlin thinking. This is from Allison Snella. You mentioned gremlin thinking. What's the silent language to move that aside and step into authenticity? Good question.
So men and women who had high levels of shame resilience, meaning they could totally acknowledge and move through shame without jeopardizing their authenticity, had 4 things in common. The first was they know what triggers shame for them. They know what the triggers are. Like for me, I know what the triggers are. I have stuff around motherhood and balancing work. I have stuff around appearance. Secondly, huge skill, you can reality check them. 3, you reach out and share your story. And 4, you speak shame. So just to boil it down, it's 3 totally counterintuitive things. Talk to yourself like you talk to someone you love when you're feeling unworthy. How would I talk to Ellen and Charlie in a moment of unworthiness? Would I would say to myself, gosh, you're so stupid, Brene. What were you thinking? Would never talk to my kids that way. Talk to yourself like you talk to someone you love. Reach out to someone you trust and tell your story. Shame cannot survive being spoken. It needs three things to just absolutely grow exponentially.
Yeah, that's why secrets really intensify the shame. And you're as sick as your secrets, because when you're ashamed, you keep it a secret, and that just sort of festers and ends up really overwhelming your life. The shame, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you release it, that's why all those years on the Oprah show, when people will come on and share things that they never shared with anybody else, you leave and you feel freer, you feel unburdened by some of it. Yes.
Absolutely. Secrecy is one of the three things: secrecy, silence, and judgment. Those are the three things shame needs to grow exponentially in our lives. The antidote, empathy. It cannot survive being spoken and being met with empathy.
What do you think? Comments? Empathy is really important right now in business. Having empathy for your clients and where they're at. Empathy for yourselves. We've all gone through 2 years of really challenging times. And there's nothing to feel shameful about. It's been probably one of the most life-altering times for all of us. So own it, be authentic, and be okay. Bang on. Thanks. That's the Small Business Center. Yeah. So watch the shame, check the shame and the guilt, because it's not gonna solve anything. And when you're real with it, other people, you free other people up to be real. Oh yeah, I feel the same way, right? I feel the same. Thanks. Okay, so I'm okay. I'm not alone in this, right? I know, Brianna, your upcoming Bridges to Better Business conference, you're going to talk about mental health. Well, that's part of it, right? So the third block now in our money conversation, as it relates to our business, is self-sacrifice, right? And it's one of those money blocks that ties up several familiar areas, like not feeling good enough, which is shame, lack of boundaries. Yeah, like that ad agency. I'm using that a bit too much here today, but yeah, can we get another quote? No, can I get an order? So you have to set boundaries, sometimes with your clients too, and with your friends and family. So setting boundaries, not feeling ready. Oh, I don't feel ready to go to the next step. Right? I don't feel ready. I'm a little scared to take it to the next level. Perfectionism, the curse. Brene Brown writes about that too a lot. The curse of perfectionism. There is no perfect. You trying to be perfect is covering up your fear of shame. It's really what it's about. Insecurity. And I like this one. I just want to help people. I'm not trying to make money. It's like, help people and make money. Have fun and make money, right? Watch the stories. Be unlimited in your thinking. Anything's possible. Yeah. Now, one key thing, your money stories are based on beliefs that one formed since childhood. Being in business is a journey of spiritual growth. I had a colleague of mine, Kim Trinicki, who's also does a lot of training in business coaching. And she said, if you want to, have really good lessons in spiritual, in personal development, start a business, because whatever happens, you're responsible, right? So your business, you being in business is about growth, spiritual journey, understand too, in business, there's beginnings and endings all the time. There's new things you're going to birth, and there's old things that are dying. Ultimately, this is your hero's journey. So why am I going to the hero's journey? Because if you're clear as to who you are, who your ideal customer is, you're going to create an environment for your business where people are going to want to come to you, and they're going to want to pay you money for what it is you do, but you got to be okay in yourself, okay? So the hero's journey is a common narrative or story template. You see it in movies. Star Wars, Rocky was all about the hero's journey, right? So it involves a hero. And in this case, in your business, you're the hero. You're the leader, you're the hero. And you're going on an adventure. And then you're going to learn lessons. And then maybe you'll have wins with the victory or newfound knowledge. And then you return home transformed. So the hero's journey can be boiled down to 3 essential stages. First, the departure. Hey, I'm going to start a business, right? Boop, boop, boop. I do Reiki for animals. I do catering. I do plumbing, right? The hero then leaves the familiar world behind. Yeah, I used to work and I work with a company. Now I'm starting my own business. That's the departure. Then there's the initiation. The hero learns to navigate this new world of entrepreneurship. And then the return. Hey, I've got my first sale or my business is growing. And you return to the familiar world. How's your business going, right? People are now supporting you. Oh, really good. And it's growing. I'm getting clients, right? So that's the premise of the hero's journey. From a model, like it's like, here's you at the top. Sorry, this is a little faded. Call to adventure. Well, I'm going to start my company. And you're going to accept the call, right? You're going to learn what you need to do to launch successfully. Then you'll start, rising to action. I'm going to start calling clients. I'm going to market. I'm going to attend networking events, conferences. But then you might have defeat. Oh, it's not going so well. So then you have to face your defeat, let it go, and rebirth, right? Oh, maybe my marketing needs to change. Maybe I need to have a different approach. And so as an entrepreneur in your hero's journey, that's what you might have to do. And then you'll atone. Yeah, you know what? I spent $50,000 in Facebook ads and I didn't get anything. There's a little atoning for that. And then, you'll learn, you'll redo, and then you'll come home and back to where you started with new ideas, new inputs, new attitudes, new beliefs, right? Yeah, so that's the hero's journey in a diagram. It's based on a book by Joseph Campbell called The Hero's Journey. So I really recommend you check it out. So one key way to connect to your clients that will pay you what you're worth is through storytelling. So I like this model because it's based on a lot of the movies you see today. Matter of fact, it's called the Pixar, and Pixar does all the cartoons, right? Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., and they have a story spine, a way of telling a movie or a story. So let's work on yours. And I think I might have done this with some people here before, but this is the story spine. And it starts out as, this is the hero journey story spine that's used a lot in storytelling, whether it's a novel or a movie or a film or a TV show. So once upon a time, there was you, right? And every day you did this until one day, bing, I had an idea to start my own business. And because of that, and if you want a third one, and because of that, until finally I decided to open. And ever since then, this happened. And the moral of the story is, don't doubt yourself, move forward, whatever it is, right? So take a moment to do the story spine. Think of your own journey, you being the hero. So once upon a time, there was you, and every day I went to a dead-end job or whatever it was. And because of that, right? Because of that, and because of that, until finally, and ever since. I'll give you an example. Mike Nesmith, he was he's part of the Monkees, the group The Monkees from the 60s. Now I'm really dating myself. Anyway, his mom invented whiteout. Can you imagine? Once upon a time, there was Mike Nesmith's mom, right? Every day she was an office clerk. And then one day she made a mistake on typing, but she didn't want to erase it. And so because of that, she thought, wow, what if I did this, right? And because of that, she developed this white, sort of liquid formula. And because of that, she gave it a name and tested it. And because of that, she then developed the product called Whiteout, until finally a big company bought the rights to it. And ever since then, she's been known as the creator of Whiteout, right? That's an example. So take a moment just to develop your story spine. What? I hope you're learning something here today. And you can write it in the chat too. I'll be quiet here. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. As you write this, know that when you tell your story, it connects to your ideal client and it connects to people who will want to work with you. And they'll want to pay you. So another minute on this. If you take the Pixar spine and you combine it with the hero's journey, if you and then you look at, let's just look at that first Rocky movie when it came out, Rocky 1. So once upon a time, there was this guy Rocky, and he worked in a meat plant, right? Every day he went to work and he just wasn't happy. And he knew that boxing was his passion. So one day he decided to go for it. And because of that, he started to train. And because of that, he met, who was the actor in it? Burgess Meredith, Mickey. Because of that, Mickey started to train Rocky to become the top boxer. And because of that, I think it was his cousin or brother-in-law or whatever, also helped him until finally Rocky got in shape and was ready for his first fight. And ever since then, he became, a champion, right? But he had people, mentors, people guiding him along his path and his journey. And then what happened after the fight? He returned home, right? A different man. And I think in Rocky 1, the first fight, he lost, but he learned something about himself, right? So there's also that, the trials and tribulations that we go through. And it's just part of our journey. There's other movies too that use this spine. Most things you watch, you'll see, oh yeah, is that a hero's journey? Is that the Pixar story spine? Who'd like to share their story spine? Any takers? And you can write it in the chat if you want. Well, we're a shy group. Okay, let's move on. You can email this to me. I'll definitely be open to checking your email, and I'll give you my email address. Some of you haven't, but I'll give it at the end here. So we're going to do one more breakout or just like group discussion, okay? Because we have a limited number. So let's answer this collectively as best we can. How can you let go of the past and thoughts that you have you not feel good enough? So this is kind of in relation to what Brene Brown was talking about. How can you let go of the past and the thoughts that have you not feel good enough? Any ideas, tips, tools?
I think, sorry, it's me again.
Thank God.
I'm thinking that to let go of the past, first you have to recognize those thoughts that are coming up, and then make the choice to change that, to reframe that story, to change your words and your thoughts to be the way you want to go forward.
Yes, exactly. That was perfect, Patty. Thank you. How can you establish boundaries with clients? How can you establish Sarah?
I mean, luckily enough for us, the boundary is we are going to their space rather than them coming to ours. So as long as we're not in their space, there is that boundary.
Right. But what if they're pushy, or they're pressuring you on price, or they're slow in paying?
The way that we're structuring our business is we are going to be fairly firm on our price. Some of the indirect mentors were listening to, at least through the advice they're offering freely online, is one is your honest hourly rate. What do you need to make to stay afloat, to pay for everything, and we are in the process of figuring out our honest hourly rate. And when we get the joke of, oh, can we get the family rate? Our immediate rejoinder is actually, oh, you don't want that. The family rate is double. And as far as payment goes, our intention is to have a service business where service is rendered day of and payment is accepted day of, and we will have multiple payment options for people to pay for the services.
Excellent. Yeah, so Sarah, it's about communicating and asking your client questions and then establishing boundaries with them, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Brianna, do you want to comment? You're okay? All right, I'll get to you.
Sorry, I'm just plugging away on something.
All right, go to it. The next question is, how can you act without being fully ready to? And how can you let go of perfectionism that will stop you from taking action? So, some of us think, yeah, but I can't go out into the market yet because my website's not done, or I'm not ready. How can you act? How can you let go of that and just like take that first step? Well, I haven't done all the research, or I haven't done this. How can you act without being fully ready? And also, how can you let go of perfectionism so that this idea of everything being perfect is going to stop you from taking actions?
I think this is one which has really helped me over the past while. Because basically I'm a broker, so I'm a middleman. So it's about getting quotes from multiple different companies for my customers, right? And so during the process, sometimes this can take a week or two. And if you're not touch base with your customer, then they don't necessarily see that anything's happening. Whereas if I'm constantly giving little updates of here's a quote from this company, oh, here's a better quote from this company, but we still are waiting to hear back from others, then it shows that I'm putting in some effort for them. They're getting updates along the way, and they can then decide, well, I'm running out of time. I need to go ahead with the best one here. So we pick from that, or we continue to wait till we hear back from everyone. Because sometimes it's really time sensitive based off of when they need the coverage, say for if they're closing on a building or something, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's good, Jared. Like that you're keeping them informed along the way, that, you know, you're trying to get the best solution for them. So it's not being perfect. It's just you're working to get the best product at a reasonable price for them, right? Yeah, I like that. Thanks, man.
And also, I think it's procrastination. Like it's that, you know, we want to be perfect, but it's really, we're procrastinating out of fear generally.
Right.
And it's a matter of just like, to me, the opposite of procrastination is decision. Like just do it.
Yeah, act.
And if it doesn't work or something, you know, it's not perfect, that's okay. It's a learning thing. And I think when dealing with clients, most clients, you know, they're pretty, well, no, I shouldn't, my clients are pretty easygoing. All they want is for their animal to feel better. So, and they don't expect miracles. So, you know, I think it's just taking that step and just say, I'm going to do it. And whatever happens, happens. And just believe that it's not going to be bad, whatever it is.
Yeah. And stay in communication, like, Jared said, and stay in communication with your clients.
Yeah.
That's really
follow up.
Yeah, follow up, stay in touch. Last question is, how can you manage your insecurities? I think I've shared that already. Just be aware of them. And then, you know, Patty, you alluded to it too, you know, like shift your thinking, maybe affirm a different reality, right? Affirmations, shift your thoughts. What else is possible? Remember the 4 questions, right? Who would we be without that thought? And then what belief can help you be able to charge clients fully and be okay with that? Because a lot of people fear that. What belief can help you be able to charge your clients fully and be okay with that? What belief can you adopt?
The belief I adopt is that I am offering you my best service, and my best is the best.
Yeah.
And that can shift my negative thought into positive thought and just plunge into the water, so to speak.
Yeah, excellent. Good. Yeah, you're giving your clients your best. I like that. Any others?
Well, I was just going to say, it's like believing that you're worthy of it, that you have value, that you have lots to offer. It's a lot similar to what was just said. And it's like believing in yourself.
Yeah, believe in yourself. I believe I'm worth it, right? I'm going to work hard for my clients. I'm going to take the care and time, right? Yeah. Excellent.
And my other thought too is, so I mentioned the honest hourly rate. If I don't charge this, I won't be available to customers to give them service, because I'll go out of business if I don't charge what I need to keep my business going.
Yeah. Yeah. People need you probably more than you need them. We forget that, in business. Our customers depend on us. If I'm hiring a plumber, I depend on you to show up on time and get the work done at a fair price, right? Yeah. And believe me, if the toilet's backing up, I need you really badly. You know what I'm saying? So, or my pipe burst. What's that? Sorry?
Well, and it's funny you mention a pipe burst, because we just got a phone call from somebody who knows he's a plumber saying, can you come take a look at a frozen pipe for us, please?
So a plumber's calling you?
No, somebody who knows that
Oh.
Mike is a plumber and that we're going into
Oh,
business called
yeah.
us.
Excellent. Good. Oh, I really hope it goes well, Sarah. I like what you're doing. Yeah, for sure. Now, keys to accepting yourself and shifting how you view money. Always remember, beauty or value is in the eye of the beholder. Not everybody's going to appreciate it or see it the same way, right? So beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you like a piece of art, I remember going to an art gallery as a teenager. I was in high school and I was taking a mass media class, and one of the assignments was to go to, see an art gallery. And I remember going in and there was a painting by an artist, Canadian artist, Sean Riopel. And I looked at the price tag and it was like $5,000. And I went, what? This is like a kid to do this. Yeah, but it's a Jean Riopel, right? The owner of the gallery told me. And I'm always reminded of that experience because, some people see the value in that painting. I personally didn't. So what I value, I'll pay for. And it's the same with your customer. So understand that. Remember, the pain you solve for your customer. The more pain you solve for your customer, the more money you make. Ask before you offer. Is everything okay? Do you like what we're saying? Are we in agreement here? Okay. Remember your value. What are the benefits to hiring you, using your service, buying your product? What is it that how are you helping your client improve or get something from what it is you're doing? Know your market. Who's your ideal client? Remember your pain, shame, guilt, shortcomings are the very things, like your story, your journey, that are going to connect you to your ideal client. It's okay to be real and authentic with people, especially now. Like, be real, right? Hey, I'm a little afraid, or I'm a little this, right? It's okay. Oh, by the way, you're not the only one. When you're authentic, you're not the only one. So, but you can be the one to overcome any past blocks. So we're all going through some sort of challenge or past or whatever. And I like this one. This is a book, actually, and it's called God Wants You to Be Rich. So always remember that. So you have permission. It's our ego that keeps us stuck. Oh, yeah, but you're not good enough. Who are you to be like that, right? So let that go, because that's just your ego keeping you comfy. Keys to wealth, we're almost done. Be of service. Serve greatly, up your game with meaning, impact, and be cutting edge around what you do. Live simply. Good money management isn't about having stuff. The richness is inside of you, right? So when you make a positive impact on a client, or you gave it all you had, that's the true richness, right? Oh, the money's nice. Believe me, I'm not denying that. Give generously, so what goes out comes back. Embrace new beliefs and envision it's coming. So get into the habit of visualizing, seeing your business go well, seeing happy customers, seeing people paying you. So connect to source, meditate, visualize, be in gratitude. Thank you for the business. Thank you for, I do a gratitude journal every day. And if I get a check, hey, thank you for that check. That's amazing, right? So allow yourself to have it. Be in a state of grace and gratitude. And you can go on not charging enough and struggling, or you can shift that. So the choice is yours. You can struggle and not charge enough and be behind the 8 ball, or you can shift that. And maybe it's time to shift. So that wraps up our session today. This is where you connect with me. I'd be open to, I don't know why that came out funny, but my email is dcohen@thedavidcohengroup.com. I'd be open if you want to send me your Pixar spine, and I'd be open to reviewing it and maybe offering some feedback. So there's this Pixar story spine. If you want to work on that and email me, I'd be more than happy to. Any comments, questions? Did you learn something? And what's one key takeaway from today?